Hello, Dominic Piacentini here. Happy to be back, bringing the R4 Wellness and Consulting approach to implementation of restorative practices in your school district here in Geneva. And today's session will be building upon the work that we started last year and continuing with some of the work that a few cohorts went through this summer in a more involved and intensive way. And so today's work is going to focus primarily on tier one, those classroom or office level, depending on your role, interactions with responding to situations probably on the lower end of the spectrum of egregiousness when students make mistakes and act poorly. And these interactions, these styles can often be used with adult peers as well. And so some helpful tips today around feedback that you've given Erica Ebert in terms of wanting to learn more and practice more with affective statements, as well as being able to more effectively deal with conflict. And so again, I would remind us all that this work around restorative and restorative discipline is not a magic wand. It's not going to work instantly every time. It's not going to work in every situation, and it's not going to work for every kiddo. However, as we discussed last year, this work and this approach, the proactive, the 80%, and then part of today's work, this 20%, the reactive, is a more effective approach than just traditional punitive consequences. And we'll talk today a bit about this idea of a package of consequences, right? Blending some of the traditional pieces of accountability and incorporating the learning or the empathy pieces of restorative to really help a child understand their missteps and to make amends and to make better decisions moving forward, which is always the goal, right? The goal of this work is changed behavior and learning. Just like we teach kiddos math and science and social studies and reading, we also need to teach our kiddos, K through 12, and even our peers at times, how to behave or how to act. And this is just one way to do so. So now that we've set the intention for our collaboration and work in this session, I want to take a minute to introduce 3 different strategies that we'll do back to back to back that can be used to kind of help reframe yourself, gather your composure before responding to a stressful situation or a student that's misbehaving. And again, building towards being able to more effectively manage conflict. So we're going to do these in a very brief 2-minute meditation style, but just know that the breath, the awareness of sound, and the physical touch, tactile tools I'm going to model in this next little segment can all be done independently, very quickly in a 10-second span when you need it before responding or reacting. So let's close our eyes. Let's get ourselves comfortable with our feet planted firmly on the ground. Try and have your back erect and straight. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, just lower your gaze and try and focus on a object near you to kind of lower your gaze and give that your attention. And we're going to just drop into the moment. So we're going to begin with 2 audible deep inhales and exhales. So 3, 2, 1, in and out. One more time, in, out. And just begin to drop in, returning to a normal pattern of breath. And just begin to notice your breath. In this moment, you have nowhere else to be and nothing else to do but being present, noticing the rise and fall of your stomach and chest as you inhale and exhale. Maybe you choose to notice the sound of your breath when you inhale, perhaps through your nose and out of your mouth. Maybe you notice the air and its temperature Is it cooler on the inhale and a bit warmer on the exhale? Switching now into an awareness of sound, keeping your eyes closed or your gaze lowered. Can you become aware of the farthest away noise that you can hear? And without judging it or categorizing it, just be aware of that noise. Can you now switch your awareness to something a bit closer, maybe halfway between the farthest away noise and the closest noise? And just be aware of it and notice it. And lastly, can you notice the closest noise? It might be in the room, it might be the breath of yourself or someone next to you, some movement around you, and just be aware of it and notice it. And then lastly, we're going to switch into the third little strategy for being mindful and present. Take your index finger and your thumb on either hand and pinch them together and slowly and gently begin to rub them together in any direction. And can you become so aware of the sensation that you notice the feel of the fingertip on your thumb or of your thumb on your fingertip? And can you be so aware that you notice the little ridges on either fingertip? Just being present with that physical sensation. You can return your hands back to your lap or in a folded position. We're going to do one last audible inhale and exhale. 3, 2, 1, in. And blow it out. And just return to a pattern of normal breath again. And you can always remind yourself, this is always true, this breath is the one that matters most. And if your eyes are closed, you can open them. Hopefully you feel a bit calmer, a bit more present, and we'll get into the work. I hope you have a great session.